Haunting truths, the devastating realities of medieval childbirth at midnight. The air hung heavy and cold, like the breath of countless souls long gone, as the bells tolled ominously at the stroke of midnight. In the flickering shadows of a dimly lit chamber, a scream shattered the silence, piercing the night with a raw, unfiltered cry of agony. It was the sound of life struggling against death, where every birth was a gamble with fate, and the stakes were dire. Women in medieval times faced childbirth as though they were walking a tightrope over a chasm of despair, plagued by the haunting memories of those who had fallen before them. What was meant to be a joyous occasion often turned into a nightmarish ordeal. Blood-stained sheets lay crumpled on the straw-strewn floor, evidence of violent battles fought between joy and loss. The fear in the room was palpable, wrapped tightly around the heart like a vice grip. Candles flickered, their flames casting eerie shadows that danced across the walls, reminding everyone present of the spectral figures that roamed the night. Lost mothers, invisible yet ever watchful, whispering warnings through the cracks of time. Just yesterday, young Agnes had been an expectant mother, filled with dreams of her firstborn. But now, she was gone, leaving behind only her unfinished lullabies. Midwives, faces waxen and grave, shuffled through the room like phantoms, each bearing a weight of sorrow heavier than a stone. Their hands, caked with the remnants of blood and hope, fumbled with bundles of cloth and desperate prayers. They whispered incantations that had been passed down through generations, tales of dark magic, of stones sprinkled with salt, and blessings sought from spirits who answered only in the dead of night. Would the baby come? Would the mother survive? It was a question that cast a long shadow over each breath taken. With each contraction, the tension spiraled, the air thick with both dread and a hint of something mysterious and otherworldly. Could it be that the soul of the unborn was trapped between worlds, waiting for the right moment to slip through the veil? The midwives exchanged pained glances, their hearts pounding against their ribcages like caged birds desperate for escape. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the clock ticked away, the echo of footsteps approached the door. The tension heightened, hearts raced. Suddenly, a choked sob broke the air. It was the sound of a mother's anguish, of the desperate hope that clung to her wishes like vines to an old oak. Surely, this must be a turning point, a chance for the tide to change. But the air grew colder still, as an unexpected chill swept through the chamber and time stood still. With bated breath, the onlookers waited for the moment that would change everything, for better or for worse. And as they did, the candles flickered once more, revealing a dark figure in the doorway, a visitor from the realm of shadows. Who was she? And what message did she bring? A shiver ran down every spine. Would she save the night, or would she plunge them deeper into their worst fears? The figure in the doorway stood cloaked in darkness, her features obscured, but her presence palpable. The midwives froze, breaths hitching in their throats. Who was she? Just a mere woman? Or something more, a specter sent to watch over the living and the dead? The flickering candlelight revealed glimpses of flowing robes, tattered and stained, whispering tales of yesteryears soaked in the sorrow of past births. Pray, do not be afraid, she said, her voice smooth yet haunting. As if the shadows themselves had taken form and spoken through her, it sent a hush across the chamber. All eyes locked onto her, the tension swelled, thickening the air until it felt like they could hardly breathe. Who are you? A brave midwife finally dared to ask, stepping forward with a trembling heart. What do you seek? I am Alara, she replied calmly, extending a hand almost too gracefully. I come not to bring harm, but to offer guidance, a balm for the wounds of this night. Whispers erupted among the onlookers. Did they dare believe her? There was an air of disbelief mixed with hope simmering in the minds of the women gathered. But hope was a fickle thing, often leading one astray. Ilara glided further into the room, her eyes a deep, unsettling shade of blue, like the abyss calling from the depths of night. She turned her gaze to the laboring woman sprawled upon the bloodied sheets, a young girl named Clara, pale and trembling, teetering on the very edge between life and the unknown. The sight sent shudders rippling through the crowd. "Time is slipping away," Ilara said, her voice now more urgent. "You must listen closely. The baby clings to this world, but the mother's soul dances on the brink. A choice must be made before dawn breaks, or both will pay the price." The words hung like a heavy fog, enveloping the room in suffocating dread. Choice. What kind of choice could possibly weave together life and death? "Speak plainly," one of the midwives cried, her voice breaking. "What do we have to do?" Ilara's gaze deepened. "A sacrifice. Daughters of the earth must not fear to embrace darkness if they wish to see light return. A life may save another, or so the tales say." Gasps echoed. The idea hung like a thick noose in the air, twisting and squeezing the hearts of all present. The weight of the decision loomed ominously, creating a rift in the room where spirits and anxiety collided. Clara's eyes fluttered open amidst the chaos, a spark of awareness igniting in her face as she sensed the tension enveloping her. In her pain-hazed mind, she caught sight of Ilara. "What must I do?" she rasped, voice quaking with fear and determination. The midwives couldn't comprehend how a child on the cusp of motherhood would contemplate such a fate. As Ilara leaned closer, the flicker of candlelight dimmed, leaving only shadows swirling in the corners of the chamber. A chilling whisper followed, weaving through the hearts and minds of everyone present, leaving a mark of uncertainty. "Will you embrace the sacrifice?" Ilara's voice echoed, pulling them to the edge of a chasm. They stood teetering, the decision twisting in their guts, hearts pounding like war drums. What daring choice would they make to protect life, and what darkness would they invite to the very heart of their sanctuary? As dawn threatened to rise, casting long shadows before them, a singular question loomed: how far would they venture to snatch hope from the jaws of despair? Before they could answer, the air suddenly crackled with a force unseen, and the ground trembled beneath them. Chaos erupted as the candles extinguished, plunging them into suffocating darkness. What lurked in the shadows? Would Ilara's revelation bring liberation or doom? The suffocating suspense deepened, wrapping around each heart. Would they embrace the unknown, or flee from the horrors that awaited? The darkness wrapped around them like a shroud, thick and impenetrable. Gasps filled the air, the midwives' hearts racing as they stumbled back, instinctively shielding their eyes from the spectre's power that crackled through the silence. The only sound was the desperate breaths of Clara, rising and falling in a strained rhythm, her body racked with pain as the world disintegrated into chaos. "Stay close," one of the midwives called out, her voice barely audible above the pounding of their hearts. They instinctively huddled together, their hands grasping each other in shared fear. Ilara's voice cut through the tension, calm yet demanding. "Time is of the essence. You must choose. The fate of both lives hangs by a thread." Her presence shimmered faintly, like a lighthouse beacon in their swirling confusion, pulling at the midwives' frayed hopes. The shadows flickered, twisting into shapes that threatened to swallow them whole. Clara's breath quickened, and she fought to stay grounded, to remember her purpose through the haze of pain. "I will do it," she urged, her voice rasping against the dark. "But I need to know, what is the price?" Ilara stepped closer, her eyes glowing with an eerie light, revealing the intensity hidden deep within. "In a world wrought with sorrow, a soul must be offered. Life must flow freely from the body that has known both love and loss. Are you willing to relinquish the life you yearn for?" The choice hung heavy in the air, constricting around them like a noose. The midwives exchanged frantic glances, their breaths shallow and quickened. "Clara, you can't, we can find another way." A midwife protested, her features etched with horror, but Clara, with a steely glint in her eyes, shook her head. "No. If it means saving my child, then I will give what's necessary." The courage that seeped into her voice rattled the very foundations of their worn hearts. Before another thought could surface, the darkness pulsated, thrumming with an energy unseen. A distant sound erupted, an echo that rumbled through the wooden walls like thunder, stirring the dust of centuries. "Listen!" Elara commanded, her voice rising above the din. "For the path is woven with the cries of sacrifice. Our ancestors know this psalm well." The sudden, haunting cries of lost souls filled the chamber, trailing like wails of grief. The midwives felt a change, the air thick with unshed tears and muffled pain. Shadows danced ominously, seeming to summon the spirits of those long gone, whispering their sorrows to Clara. "Do not falter," Elara urging Clara to focus. "Your choice is the thin veil that separates life and death. Strong will bring you to the other side." The anxiety thralls swirled tightly around the midwives, hearts racing as they watched Clara grapple with her impending fate. Such a young girl, caught between two worlds, yet standing firm. A breathless silence fell upon the room, pregnant with expectation. Clara's eyes widened, glancing towards the shadows that whispered promises and threats. She took a shuddering breath, fueling her resolve. "What must I do?" At that moment, the candles just moments ago extinguished flared back to life, casting a flickering glow that danced against the walls. And in that moment of clarity, the shadows parted, revealing paths twisted and dark ahead. Elara stepped back, her figure illuminated by the flickering glow. "The choice is yours, Clara. Will you walk into the shadows to save your child?" A deep, chilling silence settled as Clara's mind raced, the reality of sacrifice pressing upon her. The walls felt alive, breathing in her uncertainty, and their vibrations surged through her. As dawn's first light peeked through the shutters, a crucial decision hovered like a suspended breath in the air. What cost would be too great for hope? Would Clara step into the darkness and embrace the unknown, or would she retreat, imprisoned by fear? The question loomed, tantalizing and terrifying. What awaited her beyond the shadows? Clara's heart raced, a whirlwind of fear and determination swirling in her chest. All at once, the flickering candlelight revealed more than just shadows, it played tricks on her mind. Unfamiliar faces beckoned with empty smiles, ghosts of the past, urging her closer to the edge of darkness. The clamor of their whispers was maddening, yet strangely comforting as they intertwined around her like a blanket. "Clara!" The voice pierced the shroud, steady yet tinged with desperation. It was Eleanor, one of the midwives, her voice trembling as she stepped forward. "You don't have to make this choice alone. We can find another way." The shadows shifted again, looming larger, as if mocking Eleanor's plea. Clara could feel the weight of their despair, the way it clung to her like damp cloth. She turned to Eleanor, the warmth of their friendship flickering like the candles as fear gripped them all. "No." Clara shot back, desperation clawing at her throat. "You don't understand. I can't lose my baby. Not after all this." The words trembled on her lips, raw and exposed. She glanced at Elara, who now loomed like a graven statue, ever vigilant in the encroaching chaos. "Life is woven by the threads of sacrifice," Elara intoned, her voice an echo of both dread and intimacy. "The choice you face, dear child, is unyielding. Think of what awaits if you turn back." Clara's pulse quickened as a vision surged forward in her mind, her baby, small and fragile, nestled against her chest. The sweetness of that imagined moment stung against her heart, twisting the knife of resolve deeper. What was a soul's cost if weighed against her child's life? The shadows grew restless, creeping closer as Clara contemplated the void. Each heartbeat whispered encouragement, pulling her into the dark, a dissonant melody of fear and yearning. The midwife's fear became an echo, resonating within the creeping dread. "I could save you, Clara. But if you choose the dark, you may never return." Eleanor's scream cracked the air, the desperation in her voice resonating like a struck bell. With tears streaming down her cheeks, Clara took a step closer to Elara, the dark energy vibrating at her core. She felt it promising life. I will do it. For my child. It was both a vow and a surrender, each word dripping with anguish and purpose. As soon as the words left her lips, the atmosphere shifted. The room pulsed like a living entity, shadows stretching and scratching against the walls, reaching hungrily towards Clara. Breaths quickened, and a cold wind swept through the chamber, dulling the flicker of candles. "It is done," Elara said gravely, raising her arms. A swirling vortex of darkness emerged, enveloping Clara in its grasp. She gasped, the sensation both horrifying and exhilarating, like being submerged in icy water, each breath a battle against the depths. The midwives clutched each other tightly, wide-eyed with fear and disbelief. "Clara!" Eleanor screamed, her voice drowned in the swell of darkness. "Don't!" But Clara felt herself surrendering, the shadows wrapping around her as warmth blossomed from within. The pain she'd known all her life, the heartache, the tragedy now melded with this new surge of purpose like fire igniting the air around her. Then suddenly, everything went silent, the darkness collapsing inward. Clara felt weightless, suspended between two worlds. "Choose," a voice echoed, haunting and real, neither male nor female. The shadows began to reveal faces, lost souls, their eyes hollow yet pleading, filled with the wisdom of ages. A single thought crashed into her mind: could she truly reclaim life from death? As the shroud of night shifted, a singular truth twisted in her gut. Whatever she chose next would alter her forever. The question loomed heavy before her as a chilling wind danced through her heart: would she take the leap into the abyss and steal life from the dark, or claim her own soul as the price? A moment stretched beyond reality, and Clara sensed another presence retreating into the shadows as the voices of the lost grew fainter. What remained was a tantalizing intimacy with the unknown. The darkness lingered like a whisper, beckoning her toward the crossroads of sacrifice and eternal consequence. What path would she forge in that haunting silence? The decision awaited, sharp and trespassable, as she teetered on the edge. All she needed to do was step. Clara felt herself pulled downward, gravity no longer a familiar force as she drifted deeper into the void. The swirling darkness pressed against her skin, like cold fingers curling around her flesh, daring her to succumb to the shadows and lose herself forever. Every pulse of the darkness felt alive, pulsating with an insatiable hunger that echoed in her heart, yet, a flicker of defiance caught fire within her. The faces of those lost souls twisted in and out of clarity, their hollow eyes begging for release, for redemption, while she faced the abyss that could lead her to her child. The warmth of her bond to that tiny life ignited a clarity that shattered the encompassing dread. "Choose." The voice thundered, now amplified, throbbing through her very bones, vibrating every thought until it bled into chaos. The warmth surged again, blinding her from the faces around her. She was losing control, teetering on the brink of impossibility. "It's not just my life, it's my child's." She shouted defiantly into the darkness, the words spilling from her lips like a ritual incantation. "I won't let fear decide for me." The shadows seemed to shudder at her defiance. Energy crackled in the air, a tension that suggested the entity of darkness had not expected such resistance. With newfound resolve, Clara fixed her mind on the only thing that mattered, her baby. But just as she steadied herself, visions of rejection flooded her senses. What if her choice would doom her child instead? What if the sacrifice wasn't merely hers, but also the innocent life she fought so desperately to keep? Clara's heart pounded. A sudden chill swept through the void, amplifying her doubts as bitter thoughts consumed her. "Your soul for a soul," the whispers danced around her, teasing her with consequences that gnawed at her sanity. What if the price is too steep? A pang of guilt shot through her chest. The faces of the souls in the shadows revealed a shocking reality: those who had made their choices stood forever trapped, their dreams extinguished. She tightened her fists, disbelief blurring into fear. Eleanor's frantic cries echoed through the tumult, breaking through the spell of indecision. "Stay with us, Clara. You're stronger than this darkness. Please." Her heart wavered as memories of laughter, love, and bright days fought through the gloom. Eleanor's face swam into Clara's consciousness, the image blazing with hope and determination. First breaths of life, the gentle caress of sunlight on her baby's skin. Those moments could slip through her fingers, but Eleanor's plea anchored her, igniting a flicker of hope in the dark. Is there another way? Clara's voice trembled, desperate for answers. The question rolled off her tongue like an unchained prayer, echoing through the expanse. Silence enveloped her. The darkness pulsed, vibrating as if considering her query. Then, a different voice whispered, faint yet firm. True sacrifice does not have to be paid in pain. The shadows shifted, pulling back slowly, revealing a glimmer of light that pierced through a vibrant thread woven into the tapestry of the void. Clara realized she had stumbled upon a truth that could momentarily fend off despair, a choice that did not steal but instead united life and love. She reached toward the light, sensing it with all her being. The warmth of possibility wrapped around her fingers, igniting a firestorm of courage. I will claim what is mine without the price of despair. With one final breath, she grasped onto the thread, the darkness around her roaring in failure. The pulsating energy shifted violently, and for the first time, Clara glimpsed what lay beyond the shadows, a path shimmering like stars against the vast night sky, but as she felt herself being propelled toward the light, an icy tendril lashed out, aiming to reclaim her. The darkness roared, you cannot escape us. The cost of your choice will reverberate beyond this moment. Clara felt the pressure mount, the choice slipping away like sand through her fingers. The glimmer grew brighter, but doubt festered deep within her soul. Would she truly find freedom, or would she awaken another storm? This new path beckoned her, filled with potential and peril in equal measure. As she steadied herself for the leap, the shadows shrieked in rage. With one decisive breath, Clara took a step forward, leaving the choice hanging in precarious balance as the light gathered her in its embrace. What awaited her on the other side? Clara tumbled through the light, her heart racing as the shadows writhed and shrieked behind her. The warmth enveloped her, caressing her skin like a gentle breeze, an unexpected contrast to the frigid clutches of the darkness. She was weightless, suspended in a surreal space that felt both foreign and familiar. The light pulsed rhythmically, as if echoing her heartbeat, luring her deeper into its embrace. Then, she landed with a soft thud on cool, damp earth. Clara gasped, her breath catching as she took in her surroundings. She stood in a lush meadow under a moonlit sky, surrounded by wildflowers swaying softly. It was a scene of calm serenity, yet her heart pounded in her chest, a stark reminder of what had just transpired. Is this it? She whispered, hope mingling with weariness. Could this be her paradise? Had she conquered the darkness? But just as relief washed over her, a whisper broke through the tranquility. You are not yet free. The voice was disembodied, echoing through the night, sending chills down her spine. Clara spun around, searching for the source, her heart racing once more. Who is there? She demanded, her voice tremulous yet firm, clinging to her newfound bravery. From the depths of the meadow, a shadow began to unfurl, taking the form of a figure. Clara squinted against the brightness of the moonlight, casting an eerie glow. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a woman with flowing hair that shimmered silver like the moon itself, draped in a gown that seemed to ripple like water. I am Hespera, guardian of transitions, the figure said, her voice soothing yet laced with urgency. You've traversed the brink of despair and light, but the path ahead is fraught with choices. Clara touched her trembling fingers to her chest, feeling the heat of her pulse radiating through her. I chose the light. Why do I sense danger? Hespera regarded her with piercing eyes that seemed to see through to the very depths of her soul. The light you embraced will protect you from the shadows, but it comes with its own shadows too. Choosing to reject despair does not unearth the truths that linger. As the guardian spoke, Clara felt flashes of memories, fractured glimpses of a life once lived, of her child cradled in her arms. Yet, intertwined with those precious thoughts were darker echoes, fears of past mistakes, the haunting specter of what she had sacrificed. Do you truly understand the nature of your choice? Hespera continued, her voice weaving through Clara's turbulent thoughts. The light will only reveal what you intend to face. It will not shield you from the consequences of your action. Clara shook her head, confusion dousing her spark of resolve. What do you mean? I fought through the darkness to find my child. Did you? Hespera stepped closer, the ground beneath her feet glowing softly. Or did you flee it? Shadows can be relentless, but they have truths to tell. Seek them, Clara. Know the price of your light. With that, the meadow began to shift, rippling like fabric, as visions cascaded around Clara. The faces those lost souls swirled around her, their mouths moving, forming soundless cries. Visions of her child's first breath, laughter, and then heartbreak enveloped her. Confusion turned into dread. No, I can't bear this. Clara cried, feeling the weight of their longing as if it crushed her spirit. Embrace it, Hespera urged. The answers will find you when you accept what is buried deep within. Only then can you face the shadows that wait for you still. Overwhelmed, Clara braced herself, torn between the illuminating path ahead and the echoes of sorrow surrounding her. Would she dare to dig deeper into her past? Did she have the strength to confront her own failures just to save what mattered most? As the visions intensified, Clara's chest tightened in fear. What truths waited beyond the veil of her struggles, and would they lead her to salvation or to her ultimate ruin? She took a step forward, ready to unearth the buried shadows as they beckoned her closer, but was she prepared for what lay ahead? The world around Clara twisted and spun, each vision pulling her deeper into a vortex of memories. The grief on the faces of lost souls swelled like an ocean tide, crashing over her as she staggered. She recalled her child laughing, the soft feel of tiny fingers entwined with her own, moments so precious they felt more like dreams than reality. And yet, the laughter dissolved into cries of anguish, echoes of regret that stung like icy winds. Clara, face the truth. Hespera's voice cut through the chaos, sharp and compelling. These shadows won't simply disappear. What you buried will rise to the surface unless you confront it. The air around her thickened, palpable with despair. Clara squeezed her eyes shut, desperately trying to shut out the painful images, but they burned behind her eyelids. A deep ache settled in her chest, reminding her of nights spent awake, haunted by thoughts of what could have been if only she had been stronger, if only she had fought harder. Why must I relive this? She shouted, each word torn from her throat, raw with pain. I've already suffered enough. Because hidden in this suffering is your liberation. Deny it, and you will remain shackled to the shadows, Hespera replied, her gaze unwavering. With her heart thumping wildly, Clara opened her eyes to the swirling visions. The meadow transformed, darkness creeping in like smoke, swallowing the wildflowers whole. Suddenly, she stood in a dimly lit room, a sterile space filled with the echoes of whispers and groans. She recognized it an ancient birthing chamber where countless women had endured the agony of childbirth. The scent of cedar mingled with the sharpness of fear as a midwife, frail yet fierce, gripped Clara's arm. Breathe, dear one. Focus your spirit, the midwife urged, her eyes fierce with determination. I can't. Clara gasped, the intensity of the moment squeezing her lungs. What do you want from me? The midwife's face shifted, transforming into that of her own mother. You must confront the pain you hold inside, Clara. Remember the bloodshed, the loss. The choices, both made and unmade. To face it is your birthright. Clara recoiled, the urge to flee burning through her. No, I want to go back. I want to. But a force stronger than her fear pressed her forward. Shadows loomed larger now, morphing into figures women whose eyes mirrored her own anguish. Each face told a story, futures lost or forever changed, all birthed from choices that led to heartbreak. Clara stepped back, trembling. I can't change the past. I can't bear their sorrow. Stop fighting. Hespera's voice resonated like thunder. Let it flow through you. Only then can you break free. Each wail resonated in her bones, and suddenly it wasn't just her child she remembered. It was the loss of those countless lives, voices trapped in despair, waiting for someone to acknowledge their suffering. With a deep breath, Clara steadied herself. The darkness crept closer, buzzing with unresolved trauma. She could feel the weight of their stories pressing against her, but this time instead of turning away, she leaned into it. "You are not forgotten," she cried, her voice emerging strong yet trembling. "I see you. I feel you." At that moment, the air shifted. A wave of warmth surged through Clara as tears streamed down her cheeks. The faces, once twisted with grief, began to soften. Light surged around them, intertwining with shadow, creating a breathtakingly haunting symphony of pain and healing, but as she poured her heart into this acknowledgement, the meadow trembled, a new darkness pushing back against the light. "Not all shadows wish to be seen," Hesper warned, her form flickering like a candle's flame. Clara's breath quickened as she realized, in confronting the past, she had awakened something far more sinister. What had she invited into her world? Just then, a chilling laugh erupted in the distance, echoing through the meadow. Clara's heart dropped. What unseen presence lurked just beyond her grasp? Had she truly donned the armor of truth, or was she merely baiting the very shadows she had to fight? The night deepened, and darkness clawed at the fringes of her light, revealing the secret she was not yet ready to face. Would she unravel the source of this new terror, or would it consume her? The darkness thickened, twisting into ominous shapes that flickered just beyond the rugged edges of Clara's awareness. The laughter resonated again, lower this time, slithering through the air like a snake. It sent shivers rippling down her spine. Heart racing, Clara scanned the shadows. Were they spirits? Haunting reminders of loss? Or something worse? "Clara." Hespera's voice sliced through her panic, sharp yet calming. "Stay strong. You're not alone." But even as Hespera spoke, the shadows pressed closer, weaving into the fabric of her fears. They whispered her name, mingling with the echoes of past losses. Clara could feel the pulse of their mournful history, a living thing, hungry for acknowledgement. "What do you want?" she shouted into the dark, hoping to summon some clarity amidst the chaos. From the fog, a single form emerged, tall and menacing, cloaked in darkness. As it stepped into the light, it revealed a face twisted with malice, the eyes like black holes pulling her deeper into despair. Clara's breath hitched. This was no lost soul, this was something that thrived on pain, a manifestation of all she dreaded. "Do you truly believe facing the past will set you free?" it taunted, voice dripping with mockery. "You think you can just walk away?" Clara's chest tightened. I have to confront it. I can't keep running." The figure laughed again, a sound that rang like broken glass in her ears. "You think this is about running? This is about remembering. About embracing the pain you hold. But know this pain demands a price." With every word, the shadows rippled, sinister and enticing. Clara felt a pull, a desire to succumb to the darkness, to give in to despair. Yet deeper within, a fire ignited, fueled by the faces of the women surrounding her, their pain stirring a fierce resolve. "No!" she yelled, summoning the courage buried deep inside her. "You won't take me. I choose to remember." She thrust her arms outward, willing her heartache to form a barrier against the encroaching gloom. Instead of the all-consuming darkness, Clara envisioned light that pulsed with every heartbeat, illuminating the stories etched in the minds of those with her. One by one, they began to emerge, their voices rising, echoing a chorus of resilience, and alongside it, a choir of grief that demanded healing. "Let them in," Hespera urged, her presence solidifying beside Clara. "Feel what you've been afraid to feel." Tremors shook Clara's body as she forced the memories forward, the cries of mothers who struggled, the looks of defeat, the moments of bliss intertwined with agony. Each fragment was a thread in the tapestry of her existence, one she needed to weave together, no longer denying its impact. She breathed in, feeling the warmth of their stories wash over her like a blanket, but the dark figure sneered, its smile twisted and sharp. You think you can withstand this storm? You cannot embrace the light without gasping for air. This is merely the beginning. Suddenly, the meadow quaked beneath her feet, and Clara stumbled. The entity's laughter roared, cascading around her like a tempest. Just as her knees threatened to buckle, the veil of shadows swooped in, and she found herself drawn back into the center of the birthing chamber, the air thick with anticipation. Clara's heart thundered. "What are you doing?" she gasped, fear creeping in once more. "Welcome back," it jeered, drifting between the figures of anguish that now surrounded her, flickering with every inhale. "You think you're free?" Each face held a flicker of her own vulnerability, discomfort closing in. She realized they weren't mere reflections, they were mirrors of her own fears, unshed tears ready to spill. As she teetered on the edge of revelation, a single thought cut through the entangling dread: what if confronting the darkness meant something far more terrifying than she could ever imagine? "Face the truth, Clara." Hespera's voice echoed, but now it felt fractured, as if the shadows were consuming the light of her encouragement. The laughter roared anew as Clara braced herself. The shadows danced around her like flames threatening to consume her whole. She wasn't just fighting her own demons anymore. The shadows had grown bolder, more ferocious. In that moment, she knew she needed allies, but who could she trust in this twisted realm of devastation? Was there any hope left to salvage, or had she already invited doom into her heart? Clara's heart hammered in her chest, each beat a desperate plea for courage. The shadows encroached, their coldness creeping into the core of her being. She focused on the figures around her. Hespera's presence pulsated through the darkness, a beacon against the shadows threatening to swallow her whole. Bracing herself, Clara whispered, "I can't do this alone." Yet, who could help her? The faces swirling in the fog, once reminiscent of loved ones, wore expressions of anguish, each one a fragment of suffering she had tried so hard to forget. They surged toward her, revealing an ocean of pain and sorrow. Clara realized they weren't mere memories, they were manifestations of her anguish, her guilt, anger, and despair. "Clara," Hespera's voice steadied her, "you must embrace them. They want to be seen. It's the only way to move forward." But the malevolent figure sneered, its laughter wrapping around her like a vice. "You think you can embrace the shattered pieces? You think casting light upon this dark past will make them whole? They'll consume you." "No." The defiance in her voice caught her off guard. The pulse within her grew stronger, a flicker of unwavering determination. Clara closed her eyes for a brief second, drawing deep from the well of collective strength surrounding her, a strength forged in shared grief. "I will not let you win. I will face my truth." As if responding to her declaration, a shift rippled through the air. The shadows quivered and retreated slightly, giving Clara a momentary breath of relief. Hespera's glow brightened, washing over Clara, infusing her with warmth. "Yes. Let them come, Clara. Feel their pain, but do not be consumed by it." Clara felt the tug of each story, the heartbreak of women silenced by judgment, the screams of mothers haunting the halls of history. A wave of anguish hit her, and she staggered but steadied herself with sheer will. "Remember what they've endured," Hespera urged, her voice a steady anchor. "Remember that pain gives way to strength." "Pain," Clara gasped, the word leaving her lips like a forgotten prayer. "It's not just suffering. It's a catalyst for the powerful stories we hold." The dark figure's expression twisted into rage. "You dare claim their pain? It's mine to control." It surged forward, but Clara stood her ground. Raw emotion radiated from her, pushing out against the claws of despair. She took a deep breath, willing herself to embrace the memories, the lost, the broken, the resilient. Each recollection felt like shards of glass embedding deeper, but she held on, allowing the pain to teach her. A cloud of shadow erupted before her, the dark pulsating with energy. Clara screamed, but it turned into a roar of defiance. "You will not control me. You will not take what is mine." With that roar, the shadows hesitated. Clara saw something in the dark, the faces of women igniting into fierce light. They surged forth, embodying strength and resilience, standing with her against the impending darkness. Together, we are stronger. Clara knew this wasn't merely about her fight, it was about the legacy of every woman who fought through pain and despair. As they pushed against the dark force, she felt waves of strength flowing through her fingertips, but suddenly, the dark figure hissed ominously, "You may gather the strength of the past, but can you shoulder the truth of the future? There are consequences you have yet to understand." A scream swallowed Clara's words as the ground beneath her shifted once more. The world spun, and as she braced for the fall, a chilling question rippled through her mind. What awaited her on the other side of this reckoning? The laughter twisted into a crescendo, echoing all around her as she plummeted into the abyss. Would she find redemption, or had she only opened a Pandora's box she was unprepared to face? The world spun into focus as Clara landed once more, breathless and disoriented. The cacophony of shadows had given way to an oppressive silence, a stillness that clung to her like the weight of a blanket drenched in sorrow. She blinked against the sharp lights that flickered like dying stars, taking in the vast emptiness that surrounded her. "Is this my punishment?" she whispered, fear threading through her chest. "Is this all that's left?" From the void, the dark figure coalesced again, its talons glinting like sharpened blades against the darkness. "You have entered the chamber of consequence," it sneered, its voice a slicing whisper that burrowed beneath her skin. "Here, the truths you buried will rise with a force that'll shatter you." Clara's heart raced. The fresh memory of the meadow, of Hespera's support, flickered through her mind. She clenched her fists, focusing on the warmth they ignited inside her. "I will not bow to you," she declared, summoning the echoes of all the mothers lost, sisters forgotten. "I choose to remember, to rise." The shadows quivered momentarily at her declaration, but the dark figure lunged forward, its voice twisting with rage. "You think memories grant strength? They are all a deception. You are weak, and the future will bleed for it." "No!" Clara shouted, more certain now. "Memories are not my chains, they're my compass." Suddenly, she envisioned each face whose pain scalded her heart, women from centuries past who had known love, loss, and lavish joy, but had been reduced to whispers. Clara could feel their strength, reverberating all around her, pouring into her like molten gold. "Embrace them," Hespera's voice urged, echoing in her ears. "Let their stories guide you, you are not alone." With every ounce of defiance, Clara spread her arms wide, welcoming the memories. The faces surged around her, flashes of laughter, sorrow, loss, and hope. The ground trembled beneath her, the shadows recoiling as light began to seep through the cracks. Clara felt fire ignite within her, birthed from their collective anguish, igniting a firestorm of determination. "No more darkness!" she cried, anchoring herself in the light of their shared narratives, the love, the resilience, every ounce of pain that had transformed them into warriors of survival. "I will confront my truths and reclaim what was lost." The figure screeched, writhing in fury as Clara surged forward through the tempest of memories, orbs of light emanating from her fingertips. Each step she took was a choice, a rebellion against the darkness's grip. Where once she felt afraid, now lingered only hope. "Let this become my strength," Clara proclaimed, the surrounding shadows shuddering violently, colliding with the light that enveloped her. "I unify every story, every heartbeat. I reclaim my child, my light." In an explosive rush, she unleashed her power, the accumulated suffering and healing shattering walls that had long kept them captive. The chamber erupted, the spirits dancing in radiant harmony around her. "You think this can stop me?" the dark figure bellowed, scrambling, but Clara held her ground. "I am more than you, and I choose to rise." With one last pulse of energy, she propelled herself forward, surging beyond the boundary of darkness, light bursting forth in dazzling revelation. The shadows recoiled, and in the blinding brilliance, Clara saw a path, her child nestled in the cradle of love, bright and whole against the shadows that had once threatened to consume her. "Clara!" a voice sang, sweet and tender, and she knew it instantly. Her heart ignited with joy as she raced forward. There, cocooned in warmth and sunlight, lay her baby, glowing and alive, swaddled in dreams and hope. Clara's tears flowed freely as she enveloped her child in her arms, the bond stronger than life or death. "I found you," Clara whispered, the truth of her triumph filling her whole being. The shadows shrieked and faded behind her, their grasp on her heart dissolving like mist under the morning sun. As she held her child close, a breathtaking peace washed over her. Hespera's presence shimmered near, the guardian smiling brightly. "You've woven the threads of love and loss into a tapestry of hope." "Thank you," Clara breathed, the weight of her journey settling into a profound understanding. "I will hold them dear from now on, and teach my child of the strength found within the shadows." The warmth of the realm enveloped Clara and her baby, merging love with the lessons learned. They would step into the dawn together, holding the legacies of the past close, never to forget the battles fought nor the triumphs won. Days later, under a vast blue sky, Clara knelt beside a patch of wildflowers with her child in her arms. She felt the presence of those women long gone, a connection stretching across ages, and she whispered the stories of their pain and resilience. In doing so, she broke the cycle of fear. As she looked at her baby, the glow of new beginnings filled her heart. They would walk side by side, strong, unyielding, and forged by every heartbeat, a true legacy born from both light and shadow. And so, with every step forward, Clara knew she had rewritten her destiny. You need to subscribe now, to ensure you don't miss out on the heart-wrenching, exclusive stories coming your way. Smash that like button now to help the algorithm and show you support. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this incredible journey, because your voice matters. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this resolution. Your connection ignites the power of storytelling, and we're all in this together.